this is probably one of the biggest shifts in his career. Like, this was a huge moment for
This is
J.
the
Cole.
point where we saw him really evolve, essentially, and, take these artistic leaps that, we didn't expect from him. And, just looking back at J. Cole's, whole story, it's pretty fascinating to think about where he started from to where he got to now. It's amazing. I mean, at 12,
and how he got there.
Yeah, exactly.
Like he didn't take the standard route, and the decision, I feel like the decisions he made in the moments that he made only made him a bigger, more likable artist, even though it wasn't the mainstream appeal or how am I going to sell this song the best. It was about how could I deliver a message to people, right? And even like with this album, like you said, it was a huge shift for him. And like releasing this album on the same day as Kanye, like that was like a statement in itself.
That
like
balls.
I'm here, like like Kanye was like one of his biggest inspirations at one point too, and that was his moment to be like, hey man, I'm right here with you now,
and I'm ready to play.
And yep. He's like, I'm not the little guy anymore. Like I'm competition now.
Absolutely.
And he really took that and he didn't miss a step.
And it's crazy how, he was musically inspired since the age of 12, where his two passions were basketball and music. And, he would hang lyrics of Eminem songs around his bedroom and just study those fucking lyrics, man.
Yeah.
Like, he was a student of the game from the get-go, and it's incredibly impressive to see, the journey that he went on. He was born in a military base in Germany, and then, he moved to North Carolina, and he was a self-taught producer. He bought himself a piano and started making beats. I mean, this guy just did it all on his own, and he didn't take the shortcuts.
Absolutely, and not only that, for people that don't know, J. Cole also went to fucking college, man. This guy left.
Not only did he go to college, he graduated with like over a 4.0. Like,
this guy's a genius, man.
Straight A student.
This guy has a mind like no other. So yes, he did leave North Carolina. He went to college in Queens. After that, in 2007, he did release the Come Up, and I feel as if that's the first time people actually started giving him like sort of a recognition, a buzz. People start to
hear about him. Yeah,
absolutely. So around this time, were you listening to J. Cole, or when was the first time you actually got to hear J. Cole?
I never listened to. I didn't listen to the Come Up until years later.
Wow. Okay.
And I started getting onto him around Friday Night Lights, just like 2010.
2010.
Like that's when I was like. That was like, all right, like I'm a J. Cole fan. I'm gonna listen to everything that he's releasing. Like that was like the point. Like late 2009, early 2010, I would say, is when I was like, all right, like I get it. This guy is dope. Like I need to hear what he has to say.
Yeah.
And coming back just to Born Sinner, I mean, just like I said, that was the artistic shift in his career for in my eyes at least. And there was also the whole Dollar and a Dream tour where, he made fans go into his concerts for the ticket price of $1.
Yeah.
Like that just goes to show, his character and why he's in the game, why he's fucking making music and touring.
Yeah, that was what I was saying before is like the decisions he made, like that's exactly one of them. Like he could have sold tickets for $50 at that, $60, $70 at that point to pack that show up, but he did it for $1. And now that tour is like an infamous moment in his history. Like it's something that everyone who was there looks back on, and everyone who wasn't there wishes they were.
Absolutely.
And it's like, when's he gonna do it again? When's he gonna do it again? And that's how you keep lifelong fans. Like he thought of it really in the long term rather than the short term.
Not only that, but like he's a super humble dude. Like this guy. Imagine being able to create music like J. Cole can, and you're charging people $1 to come see you live, and like I remember when I first heard that, then I was like, holy fuck, man, where can I go watch this guy for $1, man? I'm like, shit, man, let me pick up my tickets. So going back to the timeline of the whole evolution, going back to 2007, that's around the time he actually founded Dreamville.
Yeah.
So talking about that, man, it's fucking crazy to see where this guy has brought that whole camp.
It definitely took time.
Insane.
It took time to get it to being one of the biggest labels in the music industry. But I mean, it's fascinating the talent that he scouted.
Yeah,
it's amazing.
It's something, and it's like it's been something that's been brewing for a long time. Like you said, he founded it so long ago, and like we've always known Dreamville was his brand, whatever. But I feel like within the last, let's say 2 years, it really evolved into this like powerhouse of a unit, like a very family oriented, like just a huge beyond a label, just an entire music community, and like what they did with the Revenge of the Dreamers 3 sessions and just that whole album in itself. And I think once they signed, I mean, they've always had amazing talent, but I think the turning point for them was when they signed Earth Gang and JID.
I actually couldn't agree more. And I think that was like 2017.
Yeah. And you know, the year after, the following, when they were all releasing, like JID released the Never Story, Earth Gang was releasing those EPs, and then they just came with heat with the whole Revenge of the Dreamers sessions, and that, you know, the documentary that came along. Like, they just, that whole thing was just so well done in so many ways that we could have a whole podcast discussing just that whole thing. And but yeah, what they've been able to do since then, and can't wait to see what they do in the future. It's been a privilege to watch and just be a fan of it, of an experience.
Yeah, you kind of sit back and you
very
watch.
Inspiring.
Yeah, you watch it and you're like, fuck, man, this guy's actually building, you know, one of the, you know, maybe one of the greatest labels to ever grace hip hop. You know, it's definitely there.
Yeah.
It's in that conversation.
It's got that potential. Got that potential for sure.
It's gonna be in that conversation. I know that's a hot take to make at this point, but you know, you already look at who they have on that roster, and it's like, fuck, man. They have so much to look forward to. So listen, I'm going to jump into 2011. This is when J. Cole dropped the Sideline Story. And, you know, this was obviously after the success of Workout. You know, that had extreme commercial appeal. So I want to ask you, at this point in J. Cole's career, did you foresee him going, you know, this far and like really getting to this, you know, sort of legend status that he's at right now?
I've always thought he was going to be one of the biggest in the game. I never thought he would do it the way he did it, you know, and that's not saying it in a bad thing, but I think just after hearing Sideline Story and those songs with it, and, you know, just knowing Jay-Z as a businessman, like I would have, not personally, but, you know, just knowing his mind and his thought making decisions, but he never really, what was I going to say? He never really like.
I think what you're trying to say is that, like, you know, he got there, but, you know, I don't think anyone really saw what was coming with J. Cole.
I think he was still trying to find his sound during that time. Because
he was still figuring himself out, and and it's just like I never saw. I mean, I saw he was going to be really big, but to where he's at now and how he did it was not something I could fathom at the time, for sure.
Yeah, and I mean, in the mid 2010s, when we saw him become, you know, one of the best rappers of his generation with the releases of 2014 Forest Hills Drive and For Your Eyes Only, and, you know, in the later years, we're just seeing how he's perfectly positioning himself to be this role model to the youth and to be this head of the label, because, you know, The Fall Off might be his last album. So I just feel like he's putting himself in the perfect position, and it's just, he's going to go down with having one of the most important careers in hip hop history.
Yeah, his resume is stacked, man. It's super thick. And not only that, but, you know, just looking at my notes right now, like, fuck, man, this guy has done so much. And not only that, but through the 2010 decade, man, like, I don't think there's anyone besides Kendrick and Drake that, you know, could really stack up against his resume. You look at you look at the Dreamville camp, you look at everything he's done on his solo success, you know, you look at how many of his albums have gone platinum and how he stuck to his, you know, you know, artistic integrity. It's fucking impressive. And, you know, I think that's what
his moral integrity.
Oh, for
Definitely.
sure, man.